Fire them up. That's what we do at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up. Right here on 1039 WYAB, where we are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. No one cares about Facebook. And we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 1039 WYAB, like, share, and subscribe to our stream. Help us grow the station, build the channel out. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell a Democrat. Follow me on X. You're going to want to follow me on X today. I've got all the videos and audio clips all hacked up and ready to go. It's just at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. Phone number today, if you want to call in, 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. And the mission here is standard. At the Andrew Gosser Show, the mission is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. I planted it, Apollos watered it, but God gave the increase. And I've got to ask you, what are you all planting out there? Are you planting grains? You planting fruits, vegetable? You planting trees? Are you planting cackleburrs? Are you planting poison oak, poison ivy? Ooh, that poison sumac. If people were to look at you without knowing you from Adam or Eve, and they just had to look at what you planted, would that be something that they would want in their front yard? Or would they be calling in the lawn maintenance people to gain control of that yard? Do you have a vegetable garden? Or do you have a weed garden? And I'm just telling you what, American culture for the longest time was solid. But American culture today, man, that's just a bunch of weeds. Out of control. My attorney, Rob, had this thing called the spinning wheel of death. It's a 9-inch saw blade on a weed whacker. I liked it so much I had to buy one for the farm. Still, it's a good one. And you sit there and you start whacking through these weeds and these trees and, you know, those popcorn trees that just literally pop up everywhere. That's why my neighbor calls them popcorn trees. You sit there and you whack down enough weeds, you got to sharpen that blade. You've got to do something about it. I have to say this. I have to start there to get to here. And lo and behold, over the weekend, I saw a highlight that if I didn't have my glasses on, if I didn't know any better, the acolytes came out of retirement. JBL got a bad spray tan, put on a 3.5-foot blonde weave wig, and came over the top and dang near decapitated Sophie Cunningham in the WNBA. Clothesline from hell. I got the clip of that. Let's play it.
Face coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just
oh my God,
a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is wind up, there is follow through, there's potential for injury.
I'm telling you what, Dijane, if you were in the wrestling business, you would be getting what they call a receipt. And I know I'm not talking about something at Applebee's. Because what right there, that was felonious assault, in my opinion. She had made no attempt to get the ball. And what isn't being talked about is not obviously the only facial and head and neck potential damage, but the way Sophie Cunningham fell to the floor. You're talking about an ACL, MCL special right there. That could have been a 2 for the price of 1 on her right knee. The way that if she wasn't the athlete that she was, she'd be in a lot of trouble. A lot of damage. And you have all the people coming out and talking about this, talking about what happened to the WNBA. Well, you've got the lesbians running it. We don't know who men are. And it's nothing more than what the NBA was back in the early 1970s before Commissioner Howard Stern took over. Was it Howard Stern? I know his last name was Stern. I can't remember if his first name was Howard. That might be the radio host. I digress. I know it's a Stern. Me and names. And he had to clean up the league. Now, this has several cultural points that I want to make at this juncture. First of all, you got her going on Twitter, or X, excuse me, and quoting in all white caps, white privilege. The only privilege that was given there was you. It was originally called a Fragrant Foul 1, and it got upgraded to a Flagrant Foul number 2, which I haven't known any basketball player out there who said that that wasn't a Flagrant Foul number 2. The Bad Boys, the Detroit Pistons, that was something Bill Laimbeer would be proud of. The Worm would be proud of. The Microwave would be proud of. Isaiah, well, he was never like that, but he always had enforcers to call in. And shout out to Isaiah Thomas. I still think he should have been on the 1992 Olympic basketball team. But when you're going up against his airness, you ain't going to win. But here's where I think is really starting to get these basketball players. The two best female basketball players on the planet right now are white. And they are getting the crap smacked out of them. And everybody is slowly starting to realize this and wondering what the heck's going on here. And it just is, it's starting to bubble up to the forefront of our culture. And it's good to see that Clay Travis is getting involved. He's making a serious bid offer, ladies and gentlemen, to start his own WNBA franchise in Nashville. Hot market. Very hot market. He's going to call it the Nashville Balls. A team fully of transgender men or transgender women will be the ones that he's going to go ahead and hire for his team. Introducing the most inclusive team in WNBA history, the Nashville Balls, a 100% transgender organization. Men finally breaking the glass ceiling in women's sports. Now, I would like to say this is satire, and we get all this, but we live in a society where satire isn't appreciated. And we are at a tipping point where people are starting to take this transgender stuff a little bit seriously. Here is a former NBA player announcing his transgenderism and moving to the WNBA.
Why are you getting involved, and how did the WNBA even get to this point?
You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman, and I think it's only fair I get a chance to play with some of my queens here in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime.
That's right. Royce White declaring himself eligible for the WNBA, drafted in the NBA. And you think this is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. That's by Defiant L's, by the way, if you're wanting to know who posted that. And then I also posted the audio clip came from Colin Rugg. And I will repost that on X as well, because you all need to watch that video. If you haven't seen the video of the attempted murder The attempted, well, it was not even attempted. It was a definite felonious assault. Attempted murder, that's judgmental. Might be a little over the top, but you watch it for yourself and you tell me if there is an intent to injure and harm, bodily injury. In my opinion, that's what I think it is. Now, we've got serious allegations going around here. This is causing a firestorm in the WNBA. NBA Commissioner Kathy Eaglebert has scheduled an emergency meeting to define what a woman is after two 6'10" NBA veterans have self-identified as transgender. They are calling an emergency meeting, ladies and gentlemen, but the CBA has already been bargained for and signed off on. I believe it's Article 8 in the WNBA contract with the Players Union. So below the NBA, there is a professional league. It's NBA 2 or the G League or something like that. The salary is $42,000 per player. Do you know what the new CBA agreement is for women's players in the WNBA? $500,000 per player. Negotiated. We have lost our freaking minds, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching America destroy the fruits of its efforts, what our forefathers gave to us. We have lost all sense of discernment, common sense, decency, critical thinking, critical judgment. You know, we used to think when someone had an idea that was a little bit off the wall, we called it out of the box thinking. We are definitely out of the box now, ladies and gentlemen. And when we get back, we're going to set the standard on what a woman is. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're just getting started. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, on the Andrew Gosser Show. We are going to table the WNBA story because my man Clay Edwards just broke in, and I did have this on the topic to talk about this lawyer, this female Muslim lawyer who was rumored to be appointed as an attorney or as a judge in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Now, I was going to get into the whole AI aspect of this, and I did it, but I've just seen the text, and I'm trying to validate it while I talk here, so forgive me if I have a little bit of a delay. But she is not appointed as a judge in Ridgeland, Mississippi, but apparently she's been appointed as a judge in Benoit, Mississippi, in Bolivar County. Osama A. Ali. And this started blowing up on my timeline through Amy Meck, and I'm just going to repost this right here. And the reason that it's blowing up is because there was AI involved, and there are so many layers to this. Because there is a picture of this woman posting with Attorney General Lynn Fitch. But this is what I'm going to say. People take pictures with politicians all the time. There are people who take pictures with Trump. There are pictures who are taking pictures with Hillary. There's pictures who are taken with Biden. It's a big deal to get your picture taken with people. Well, I wouldn't be caught dead getting my picture taken with Obama. Yeah, but you never know when you're going to be in the room, and you might have a president who says something like, "Now, there's one of us here who's not like the rest of us." And the president may look at you, and you just smile and say, "Yep," and the Space Act Agreement of 2014 or whatever it was is signed into law. So I'm trying to get to the actual city website, and the only one that I can find of is town of Benoit MS square.site. But this is what it says. There were 611 people there with 193 households, 153 families residing in the town. Population density was 627.2 inhabitants per square mile. There were 211 housing units with the average density of, we just said that. The racial makeup of the town is 21.28% white, 76.2% African American, and 0.98% other races. I'm telling you what, I need to get Amy on the phone because she's been doing the Lord's work on this Muslim invasion stuff. And I take so much crap over it all the time. And I'm telling you what, this is happening. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, Andrew. Yeah, on this story, as I was saying this weekend in our text group, I was opining because she's the one that put out that she had been appointed as a municipal court judge.
Yep.
That it didn't have to be in Ridgeland. You can be a municipal court judge in any one of the other 250 to 300 municipal court areas in the state. And they're minor infractions like traffic tickets and things like that are addressed there. But it is significant that she's there. Now, on the picture with Cindy Hyde-Smith, you and I both know Trump takes a lot of pictures with a lot of people. But if it's found that there's a picture where it's someone that he did not endorse, he was maybe not as aware of what was going on, as soon as he finds out that picture's there, he immediately disavows it. Hey, this was just a picture. I don't support this person. I don't support their views and all of that. I'll be interested to see how Lynn Fitch addresses this. But Trump is a little different than her. He's got people around him watching out for him, his staff, and he watches out pretty well for himself. I don't know if she has that type level of staff watching out for her. But I still would be asking her about it. What does she think about this person being appointed to it? It's a part-time job. You can hold another job as an attorney. My brother-in-law is a municipal court judge, and he's not a municipal court judge in the town that he lives in. and he does it a couple of days a week. He goes in and, they run through traffic tickets and things like that. But it is significant in a state of Mississippi that people classify as a red state. But you and I both know we're not a red state. We're actually purple.
Yep.
Because by all measures, we're about 52% conservative. That's definitely not red. Just because you have an R next to your name doesn't necessarily mean that you share all the values of the citizens out there voting as Republicans. Just look at what's going on with John Thune and others. But yeah, I'm glad that Clay got to the bottom of this. I kind of thought that would be that way. I wish more people had been a little patient and just wait till Monday morning and call her office. Hey, where'd you get appointed as a judge? Let's clear the air on this. And then we found out where it is.
The seeds of deceit, Chris, are going to be deep, because she came out and said, no, I wasn't a judge in Ridgeland. And she took these media questions. She took these questions from online. And now it's going to say, no, well, you knew you were a judge in Benoit, but not in Ridgeland. I mean, come on there. That's being deceitful. And that's grounds right there. Now, I don't know what the people and the citizens of Benoit were thinking when they made this hiring, but anybody who doesn't have an American flag behind them, but a pair of clashing swords instead, you might want to rethink about where they're getting their Jewish jurisprudence values from,
Yeah. And it's hard to verify that stuff because the Secretary of State's office maintains the list of all judges within the state.
Mm-hmm.
And they only update that at the beginning of the year. So you get the 2026 listing of judges, and that can change throughout the year, but I don't think they automatically update that site. So it wasn't unusual for people to try to search for some type of public record that said that she was a judge. And I'm guessing because Benoit's such a small town, they don't have somebody that's, constantly updating a website or something like that. But again, the best thing, and it's what I recommended all weekend, hey, take a breath, call her office in Ridgeland on Monday and just ask her.
My goodness gracious. I'm just looking at their website now, and this is no slight against the web designers over in Benoit, Mississippi, because not everybody can afford to pay somebody $1,000 to build a website, but this is some low level.
Yeah, I just I don't think this is going away because now it's been verified by Clay.
Yep.
And you may see some of these, million+ follower accounts keep hammering it even more. There were some big name accounts that were asking what was going on in Mississippi. I just wish that at some point we had some people in our local media that when they have the opportunity to speak with our elected representatives, they would civilly and cogently challenge them on things. You don't have to be a butthole. You don't have to yell. You don't have to try to get them with a gotcha question. Ask a question that the citizens want an answer to. And if they obfuscate, point out, hey, you're not answering my question. This is what the citizens want to know. I'm old school. I thought that's what the media and the press were supposed to do. The fourth estate, they're supposed to be asking the questions and getting answers that the public's interested in, not political agendas of the owners of these media outlets.
Yeah. It's shocking to me. There's a lot of AI going on with this right now. And that's the one thing that I was, the first thing I do whenever I get a video or a picture or something is I throw it in a Grok, I throw it into Chat GPT, and I'll throw it into AI detector and see is there any AI detected. And if there is, I see what is actually the AI in it, but 99% of the time I just immediately discount the whole thing. Now, if it's a real video, but AI put the video together, then I'll have a little bit of discernment in there. But this is just absolutely crazy to me that we in Mississippi, and Chris, people don't like having their spirituality rammed down people's throats, but we're supposed to be in the Bible Belt, and we're the buckle of the Bible Belt. And this is how Sharia law starts. And we can look at Dearborn, and I've got videos from Chicago this past weekend where it's on the march, and it's happening here. And if this isn't a place to where, hey, maybe we need to put in some of this anti-Sharia law legislation, this is the wake-up call for it, in my opinion.
Well, they tried in our state legislature that couldn't get the job done. And I've been open about this, and it's not a dig against Islam. I just said that Islam is incompatible with our constitutional republic. You and I both know in the scripture of the Bible, there are things that the Bible talks about rendering unto the state, render under Caesar what is Caesar's. It talks about the hierarchy between our faith and government and how we comport and all of that. That is not in Islam. Islam is paramount. It is the law, and everything else is subordinate to it. That's why it's incompatible with our constitutional republic, because it puts their law above the people. And if you don't comport with it, there are significant consequences that they advocate in that faith. That's why it's incompatible. And I'm willing to debate anybody on that topic, 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. That is just it. But unless we take the time to, as Barney Fife used to say, nip this in the bud, it takes hold a little at a time. They're on the school, the Sharia and Islam faith is on the school board. Then it's in the municipal courts. Then it moves a little further and a little further and a little further. And if you don't take care of it now, it's going to get too big to try to put that genie back in the bottle.
It's going to get out of control, Brother Chris. And I appreciate the phone call. And I would still love to, I'd happily be the arbiter of that debate between you and any constitutional scholar who wants to go 1v1. That'd be great. We'd love to do that for you, man.
Hey, if anybody's interested on Wednesday, I don't know how many people are familiar with the MG show, Matrix and Shady Groove. They have a really well-regarded and well-followed podcast on Rumble. And they're going to be broadcasting on Wednesday. I and John Nance are going to be on there to talk about our visit with Director Patel and some of the things that we learned, our opinions, thoughts, and even some of the things we talked about off camera.
Yep. And when you get a day off, I'd love to have you just come into the studio and talk about it too. I know that we go back and forth in text messages and in X and whatnot, but it'd be great just to have you in here and shoot the breeze when we get a chance.
Oh, definitely. I'm getting ready to do some changes in my business model here in about 2 weeks, and I'll have some more free time.
Awesome. Schedule in 10 to noon one of those days. I appreciate it, Brother Chris.
All right, brother.
You have a blessed one.
Thanks. Bye.
That was Brother Chris Hinkle just talking about how it is possible for an attorney to be an attorney practicing law in one town and a municipal judge in another town. And we're getting calls into Benoit, Mississippi now. But it just goes to show you, and I don't say this to all the Democrats out there or independents out there, but this is for all the Republicans who were calling me crazy for the Sharia law stuff. What more do you need? What more do you need? You are tuned into the Andrew Gossett Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And it gets deeper, ladies and gentlemen. It gets deeper. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. And, this is just breaking on the Andrew Gosser Show. I love this time slot. Jameson, thank you so much for trusting me with it. I never forget where I came from. But I just called the village of Benoit. And I asked the lady who answered the phone point blank, I said, ma'am, I just read that this the city of Benoit, Mississippi just hired Miss Ali as a municipal judge. Can you confirm this? And she hung up on me. She didn't answer. She didn't say jack squat. Now, I want to juxtapose this to the city of Richland because they're taking a lot of crap over this. And there are people who are upset. And, to the city of Richmond's credit, I can't go on my Facebook page to look at it because Facebook hates me. But I had people go look, and there was a very professional response on all of these comments about this Ali chick being appointed as a judge in Richland. And guess what? They came back and said, no, she is not. It was very professional, very courteous. Expect exactly what you would expect from an elected official and their representative government and employees. Professionalism. I can tell you this, as a recovering politician myself, if my staff ever did some crap like that, they'd be fired instantly, hanging up on a constituent, whether they represent me or not. You don't hang up on somebody who's calling and asking you an honest question. What the heck's wrong with you, city of Beloit? Absolute travesty of justice. You can just say yes or no. I should have recorded it. I don't have to tell somebody when I'm recording it, and I didn't have to say they were on the radio because I did it during the commercial break. But my gosh, is it so difficult? Absolutely not. You could have said that is an absolute lie. That's a false rumor, and I would have gone out and I would have corrected the story immediately. But you didn't. You hung up on me. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody who knows me, politically speaking, knows that I don't do the gotcha game. I think that's BS. I had it played against me so many times, and I loathed it. I loathed it. And I don't play that garbage. Now, hell, I want to get my Prius and drive out there and go ride up in there and say, I want to see who the municipal judge is. You can Google the village of Benoit, Mississippi. They have their website right there online, townofbenoitms.square.site. It's a free Squarespace site. And they also have the phone number there. It's public information, so I can't dox them. But you might want to call them and ask yourself. 662-742-3751. It's a government office. Be respectful. Don't curse. Don't swear. Just ask the question and see if she hangs up on you. I'm to quote my friend Expressions, I'm seething, fam. I am. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a nice guy. I'm not one of these towering, imposing, bulked up figures. I sit there and I can't sit there and muscle my way through things, political brute force. Nope. Gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word incites anger. And nothing ticks somebody off more than getting hung up on when you're trying to be sincere. It's ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, I did message Amy Meck, who broke this. She's in Texas, and she runs an organization called RARE. And she raises awareness against the Islam marching across Texas and around the United States. I'm telling you what, we are not prepared for what's happening here. We are completely unprepared. And we like to think we're in Mississippi and it's hot down here, so we don't bother worrying about what's going down here. We just mind our own business. We're polite on the streets. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. How you doing today? Have a blessed day. Have a good one. Those Southern manners that I've grown to love and cherish and made my own. I always had them. I remember one time someone saying, Andrew, you sure do have nice manners. The military must have did that to you. I'm like, no, my mother did. And if I didn't give her credit for it, she'd reach back from Illinois and slap it right out of me. She would. People are checking in the chat. Line is busy. I tried calling. Good morning, sir. Good morning. I appreciate everybody trying to call. Blow it up. You know what? This would have been completely stopped. No, Mr. Gosser, she's not a judge here. But she was. She had to hang up on me. She had to be rude. Man almighty. And now this is just going to grow. And you know what? Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, what are we going to do about this? Speaker Jason White, what are we going to do about this? Governor Reeves, what are we going to do about this? It's all fun and games when it's happening in Michigan and Texas, but now that it's here, what are we going to do? And people say I was the crazy one for talking about this all the time. Now, I'm just the only one of all those who've done time downrange and seen the effects of this. And if they have done time downrange and seen the effects of this, shame on them for not realizing it and bring it to the forefront. The time for playing nice and playing these foo-foo political games is over. You know, we have 5 anti-Sharia law bills put into the Mississippi State House in Judicial 2, and Judicial B, actually, not Judicial 2, Judiciary B committee, and all 5 of them died. And you had everything from fiscal conservative, Christian conservative, middle of the road Republican, establishment Republican. All the Republican flavors were covered in those bills. People are saying that the line need the number again. This is the number that I got, and I just Googled it, ladies and gentlemen. 662-742-3751. Benoit, Mississippi. Bolivier, Bolivar. I don't even know how to say that. You know me and names, ladies and gentlemen. Look, well, I'm going to take a little break. When we get back, hopefully someone gets through and we get an answer one way or the other. It doesn't matter if she's a judge there now or not. The fact that she freaking hung up on me really ticks me off. I'm taking a break. I'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. I was in a really great mood. I was going to have a great show today. She just flat out hung up on me. And ladies and gentlemen, you know me. My audience knows me. They know that I'm not rude on the line at all. In fact, I take a lot of crap from liberals. And for her to hang up on me is absolute hot garbage. I got to watch my mouth. They say the lines are busy now. And so hopefully their line just blows up and they can figure out what the hell they're going to do now. Islam is incongruent with U.S. justice and United States law. It's incompatible. It's ridiculous. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Hey, if you guys wouldn't mind liking the stream and sharing it out there as we go ahead and break this story, that'd be awesome. I'd appreciate it. And if any of you want to call in, 601-879-0002. Actually, Corey, if you could call in, I'd like to hear exactly what she did. And we are back here on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Breaking the news. We've got a appointment of a woman who practices immigration law. She's an immigration attorney. And Brother Clay Edwards just tweeted it out, and I'm going to actually say what he said out there, because I think it's important that he gets the credit for this, because Clay breaks a lot of news. And huge update. Asama, and that's how you say her name, man. I'm not like butchering her name. Asama Ali was appointed as a municipal judge in Benoit, Mississippi, not Ridgeland. I apologize for the back and forth on the radio that was true or not, whether it was true or not. This has been a complete cluster. Well, you know how Clay likes to talk, trying to figure out, get to the bottom of this. And it's just absolute insane. I mean, again, to my audience, who I've always gone out there and told everybody why they need to have a good relationship with your state rep, why you have a good relationship with your state senator, whether you like them or not. That way, when we get stuff like this, we can call them and say, hey, we need to fix this crap. Man, I'm so close to losing it. Gentle answer turns away wrath. A harsh word incites anger. I don't want to operate on anger. I want to operate on the goodness of God. I'm here to equip the saints. John checking in saying, lesson of the day, don't hang up on Andrew. Yeah, that's really bad. And I don't mean to turn this about me, but that kind of, I never really did anything politically crazy until someone truly wronged me. And it wasn't like a vote against me or voting against my position, but when they tried to attempt to politically take me out in an election or some other thing like that, then all of a sudden it's just like a bull that sees red. And honestly, that's why another reason that I would never run for office again. It's not for me. But here's the other thing. We got to talk to Lynn Fitch. What does she think about this? And like Brother Chris Hinkle said, people take pictures with politicians all the time. Does how can this juror honestly say she's going to support and defend the Constitution of the United States over Sharia law when her law firm has the crossed swords? You do know what a sword is used for, right? You do understand that they're there to decapitate you. Look, I've got so many things bookmarked and everything, but this is coming out of Texas. I was going to save this for the next hour, but I'll just drop it here now. This is in Texas.
Why aren't you guys dressed like Americans?
Islamic takeover. I am American.
Islamic takeover.
This is not how Americans dress.
It is.
No, it's not. This is a takeover. This is a displacement. You guys are wearing dresses. This is not how men dress. This is not how men dress. You guys are dressed like women, though, out here.
Islamification is your ability to practice your religion is one thing, but you guys are changing the culture, the dress, the style of.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is right outside a brand new Islamic center in Plano, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And they've got I'm telling you, if I didn't know any better, this wouldn't be Afghanistan, but this would be like Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain. And kudos to this kid. It looks like he's a young soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Coast Guardsman, Guardian. Ladies and gentlemen, now's not the time to be cowards and act like 98% of the population did when we decided we were going to go at this with the British in the War of Independence. And these kids that this guy is confronting, 22 years old at the oldest. They speak perfect English. Back in the early 2000s, we called this homegrown. And now the dog is sitting here barking at our door. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not expect to wake up to this today and have this rolling in on the Andrew Gosser Show, but we just take it as we see it, ladies and gentlemen. We take it as we see it. If anything else breaks on this story in the next hour, we'll be sure to talk about it. I still have a bunch of the WNBA stuff I want to get to. This was all supposed to be in the second hour. I did reach out to Amy Mack. Hopefully she gets her, if she wants to come on the air, we'll get her on. And look, if anybody from Benoit, Mississippi wants to call back and first of all apologize for hanging up on me, but then explain the situation, I'll be happy to do that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB.
The search and rescue operation. He has also ordered an emergency center to be set up immediately. That's the information that's coming into us right now.
In the city of Cali, the mayor says at least 20 buildings have collapsed and residents are trapped. President Trump and his administration continuing economic sanctions against Iran, along with warning that more strikes could be taken if Iran doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says Iran is also listing its own demands for reopening the critical waterway.
In past weeks, we've heard the president talk about a last chance for Iran. In recent months, since the war began in late February, he's talked about a complete surrender that he's demanded. And now you have the Iranians trying to put international pressure on the United States, on the global economy, by threatening to choke off traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, now demanding reparations and an end to the blockade.
Extreme heat and dry conditions fueling dangerous wildfires across much of the country and leaving firefighters stretched on the front lines. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth with more.
Nearly 100 large fires burning nationwide, scorching more than 3 million acres as exhausted firefighters race to contain the flames. Most of them in the West, nearly 50 in Oregon and Washington alone, while evacuations are being ordered near Reno, Nevada, as the bug fire torched more than 15,000 acres over the weekend.
In Las Vegas today, jury selection beginning in the murder trial of legendary rapper Tupac Shakur 30 years after the fatal shooting. One-time South LA gang leader Dwayne Davies, who goes by Keefe D, denies the charges. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes,
News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
What Pearl police say a teenager was doing with his time in Mississippi. This afternoon's high is 95 with some fog this morning. It's mostly sunny. Tonight's low is 76 and it's mostly clear. 96 Tuesday. By the time Wednesday and Thursday rolled around, highs in the upper 90s. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. A 15-year-old from Florida perpetrated some shenanigans Sunday morning at the expense of some people in Rankin County, says Pearl Police Chief Nick McClendon. He says the 15-year-old carjacked someone at gunpoint, which did not happen in the city of Pearl, but then also held somebody up, which did happen in Pearl on Pearson Road. Then he split, and police had to chase him down to get the cuffs on. They have not released that person's name. Jackson City Councilman Kenneth Stokes says to make the city safer, the police department needs more money. While that may be a no-brainer to some people, Stokes says that the harder problem is figuring out where that money will come from, and so he proposes taking money from other departments to sink into the police budget. It's not clear if that will go over with the other council members. A murder Sunday in Greenville, and police say a woman is under arrest, but they have not discussed the motive publicly yet. They identified the man who was killed as Kadarian Dorsey. They say he died of a single gunshot wound to the chest, which he got at an apartment complex on North Broadway Street. Police then announced the arrest of Samantha Rape, and yes, that is her name. Rape is charged with murder. A man is dead from a rollover crash that happened Saturday night about 10:15 in Adams County. A couple of people were trapped and 53-year-old Marvin Miner Sr. died. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
After 30 years, Small Town Music no longer has a dedicated physical location in Canton, but we continue to support WYAB and hope you will by shopping our merchandise and original music online. And of course, you can still call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium. And you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this.
We are back for hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. You know, big stories break on the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. When Chokwe Lumumba was first indicted, that broke on our story via Clay Edwards, or my show on via Clay Edwards. Now this is huge. Texts are coming in, chat's blowing up, and it just is what it is. But no matter what, we're streaming on X, Rumble, YouTube. No one cares about Facebook, WYAB.com. We're at the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that it is 103.9 WYAB. Well, please like, share, and subscribe to the stream. Let's get more people tuned in, listen in. Help us grow the station, grow the channel. Tell a friend, tell a Democrat, tell a Christian. Tell somebody who's not politically inclined to start learning about what's happening in their own backyard. 601-879-0002 is the number if you want to be part of the program. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. Yep, and the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. I planted it, Apollos watered it, but it's God that gave the increase. I know I've got the Matthew 15:1 talk about wars, rumors of wars. You know, you've got everything kicking off in Iran. You've got a hot war. You've got a cold war happening right here in America. You've got a cold civil war. You've got a cold insurrection, revolutionary war going on in America. There are wars going on in France, Germany, England. They're all cold. Morocco and Spain are being invaded. This is all just stuff that's happening that is 100% verifiable. There is no innuendo. Miss Lisa's texting in asking if we can repeat the number. I think I still got the number here. The number, if you want to call Benoit, Mississippi, and ask them if they have hired Miss Ali, be professional, be polite. 662-742-3751. Please be professional. And if you do get through and they do give you an answer, just either text the show, 601-879-5060, or call into the show, 601-879-0002, and let me know. And like Brother Junk said, let this be a lesson. Don't hang up on Andrew. Just don't be rude. And don't lie to me. I think lying to me would be worse than hanging up on me. But I won't do anything or say anything. I will push back against you, but that's not the way this is. Also, would it be possible to recap the situation after the news break? I know about the Amy Meck that broke all over the weekend, but I don't know any more details except that she is not a Ridgeland judge and something about Benoit. I guess that's what I get for missing the first part of your show today. No, Lisa, you know people are tuning in and tuning out all the time. So over the weekend, Amy Meck, who runs Rare, and forgive me, I don't. It's CARE is the Council of Islamic Arab Relations, American Relations, and then she owns an organization called Rare. Broke the story that the city of Ridgeland had hired this Miss Ali lady, and I'm going to pull up my profile here, so forgive me because I'm kind of bouncing around. This Miss Ali lady as a judge. Well, city of Ridgeland, not Rich, Ridge, RIDG. The city of Ridgeland didn't want any of that smoking. Like, no, we didn't do anything like that. Asama Ali is her name. Asama A. Ali is her name. And city of Richland didn't do that. Well, Clay Edwards briefly talked about this morning, and we were talking about, is this a hit piece on Lynn Fitch? And that was one of the hypotheses thrown around. I have a different hypothesis, but I'm going to keep that one close to the vest for right now. I'm going to let other people try to think what's going on. But then Brother Clay came out and found out that it wasn't, that she wasn't in Ridgeland. It was Benoit, Mississippi. And it's hard to track this stuff down because apparently we only have to update our municipal judges once a year with the Secretary of State. And I don't know where Clay got his source from, but I'll tell you what, I trust Clay with his sources. I've watched Clay be right way more than he's wrong. And when he is wrong, he always corrects it, and he's a man about it. And I've just been raging against this because I've seen what Sharia law does to a economy, what it does to a civilization, what it does to a way of life. The short answer, it sucks. Yes, United Arab Emirates is beautiful. Yes, Bahrain is beautiful. It's completely built on slave labor. And you go to the big cities, it's great, but you go out beyond the outskirts, man, it's a totally different place. We drove from Abu Dhabi to Dubai one time when we were in a port of call, and we were like we want to get as far away from the USS America, because we've been on the ship for 86 days at sea, and I know that's nothing compared to what the Lincoln's currently doing or what the Ford did, but back in the day, 86 days was a long at sea period. And John Stockton, Thornton, Sleepy B, we rented a Mercedes 800 class, and we drove from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, or Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I can't remember now. So many ports of call. And we were listening to Nirvana. I'll never forget it. And all of a sudden, everybody started pulling over, and we're just hauling. Well, I almost cussed, but we were hauling the mail, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in the business. And we got pulled over by the Sharia cops. We identified ourselves as American, and what it was the call to prayer was going on, and everybody's pulling over to the side of the road to go pray. We're freaking Americans. We don't do that crap. Well, we got culturally appropriated. We didn't have to go down and bow down, but we did have to sit there for about 15 minutes while they did their prayers. Then we got back on our way to where we were going. But I say all that to say this, because the towns in between Bahrain or Abu Dhabi and Dubai are not what you see when you do a search for Emirates Airways. It's not what you're seeing there. It's poverty. You women, huh? And if you hear a little bit of mockery and disdain in my voice, it's supposed to be there, because you women have no idea what you're getting yourself into when you start practicing Sharia law. I won't even get into the graphic stuff. But you think Christianity's bad about wives obey your husbands? You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. None. I'd be kicked off the airways so bad if I just went in and gave a realistic interpretation of what Sharia is going to do. Because women, you are not obeying your husbands in Sharia Islamic law. You are submitting. Full submission. How the heck is it that you go back and look at all the pictures of Iran and Afghanistan and Iraq before militant Islam took over? You will see women were wearing nice dresses. It was very cultural, intelligent people, intelligent society. The Babylonians and Iraqis, the Iranians, all very intelligent people throughout history. You can go look at it. But my point is that once the Islamic republics took over, doesn't matter if it's Sunni, which is the quote unquote more peaceful one, or the Shia, the more militant one, they're still going to go out there and behead all the infidels. And I can't for the life of me understand why we're having all these problems here in Mississippi trying to get this outlawed. We see the problems that are happening in Michigan and Texas. We see what's happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We saw what happened in Ohio. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. #1 bestseller. We're watching this Islamic takeover, and we're just sitting here doing that. And then I played this video earlier of Texas where these American kids, they're not Americans. They don't believe in the red, white, and blue. They believe in the Sharia law. Now, they'll claim because they're born in America, they're American citizens. They'll claim the Constitution when it benefits them. But it won't. And you know what this gets back to? General Platt. America's Got Talent or American Idol or whatever the heck it was, pants on the ground. Once we started allowing pants on the ground, we started allowing women wearing dresses. It used to be a comedy skit. You think I'm lying. Who remembers this bestseller back from 1983, ladies and gentlemen? 1983. Ladies walking into the bar, Bud Light commercial.
Bud Light, please.
A bunch of dudes with mustaches dressing like girls. Bud Light night.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you
When
down,
I saw this back in 1993,
make it a Bud Light.
I was laughing my butt off. We were laughing our rear ends off. It infected us way back then. Who would have known 30 years later Bud Light would commit political suicide with Dylan Mulvaney? But wait, like Billy Mays says, there's more. This is the pool commercial. Men in drag competing in ladies' pool contest. You know what's going to happen here.
You're playing for Bud Light, lady.
Men just completely doing all these trick shots, whooping it up, goosing the chick with the fuel pool. These guys are good. Yeah, they are good. They're men.
Nice. Yeah.
They're more athletically inclined.
Looks like you're in the finals, ma'am. For the great taste that won't fill you.
This pool judge is calling a dude man with a blonde wig and a mustache on. No one was identifying themselves as trans. It was a joke. It was a joke to American society because we were living the high life. We were living high in the hog. We had morals. We had values. We were thinking to ourselves, oh, we can take a joke. We can understand it. Never mind. It was sowing the seeds of dissension later on down the road. Mr. Rodrowski says, keep telling the truth. There's no place for Islam in our country, and this cult is trying to usurp our constitutional republic. You're right. We do have the freedom of speech, the freedom to practice our religion. But make no mistake what religion this country was founded on. and it just seems like our politicians have forgot it. And it's a shame. It's a darn shame. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. It's been a long time since we should be questioning. I mean, I can't even get into the Fauci stuff today. That's how bad it is. I had all sorts of stuff on Fauci I was going to get at, and this is just good. And, this confusion between Islam and Christianity, genders, it's all intertwined. It's all the silos being divided and then converging and braiding a wire, a web. I don't think it's going to crack us or destroy the United States, but we're going to have a good old slobber knocker of a fight, as good old JR would say. I appreciate all the retweets on X. If you don't have an X account, I'd appreciate you making one and following me and retweeting. Help grow the substance of it. I'm still shadow banned on X, but I'm not a big enough account to really get the traction that it needs to. And we are back here in the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. 601-879-0002 is the number if you want to call in. I know it's a controversial topic. I know lots of people have in comments. There was a commenter who said, this is all intertwined and interlinked, and I agree. They call it the Red-Green Alliance, the red being the communist socialist, the green being the Islamist, teaming up, forming things like the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America. Also, they're the ones behind the tranny movement. They're the ones who are behind the confusion with our kids. And think about this. This all started back in 1983 and 84, or 1993 and 94 with Bud Light commercials. But this is the culmination of it right here.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Nope, no, she can't. And that witch is sitting on the U.S. Supreme Court making up laws as she goes along, as how not what the Constitution says, it what she feels. I see that comment there, but I can't say that one, brother. But it's not hard. You know, and it even goes back before the men in dresses and beer commercials. It goes back to putting sexual education in our classrooms. It goes back to pulling out the Bible out of our classrooms. This is what it's all going back to. And I know the majority of people understand what I'm saying, but there are a lot of people who are tuned into the Andrew Gosser show here on the first time, wondering what the hell is going on in Mississippi, and trying to explain that we are shifting our judicial system from a constitutional republic to an Islamic republic. And right now, our lawmakers don't think it's important to ban Sharia law from our government. Andrew, it's going to go to the United States Supreme Court. Yes, Texas is already doing it. Well, let them do it. No, we need to do it too. We need to attack this on all fronts. And I have my attorney friends out there. Andy, just let Texas do it first, then we'll just hook on. You don't want to make an argument and then get a decision that you don't like in one and one like in the other. Well, if we're getting to that case with our court system and our U.S. Supreme Court, well, then the country is screwed anyway.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
Do you think Sotomayor could tell the definition of what a woman is? She's a lesbian, apparently, allegedly. I don't know if she is or not. I don't think she's married. I'm not being disrespectful towards Justice Sotomayor. We have real questions of strong female characters in our society right now. You got Sophie Cunningham on one side and Ketanji Brown Jackson on the other. You've got Caitlin Clark on one side and Nancy Pelosi on the other. I mean, say what you want about Whitney Houston. She was a great singer. She might have you got her, or you got some of these female rappers who talk about body counts. Who do you want your daughter to follow? I mean, what are we doing in America here? And it's one thing for California to go into the tank, New York to go into the tank, Illinois to go in the tank, Minnesota to go in the tank, but Mississippi? I'm looking at the pastors. I'm looking at the teachers. I'm looking at our elected officials. You know, we might have our political disagreements, but we all know what a man is, and we all know what a woman is. We all know what the Constitution is. I really like where this movement is moving or headed towards, by the way, too. When you have female athletes who would never in a million years make 500,000 a year are making 500,000 a year and then claiming white privilege. I'm sorry, women's sports just doesn't draw like men's sports does. Can't help it that God made men stronger, taller, faster. God made women beautiful, caring, nurturing creatures. God gave you the greatest gift of all, bringing life into this world. And we devalue that because we want to have the girl boss, the CEO, the boss. And we are just blurring all of the lines that got humanity to where it was. You know, if there was really a transgender or a homosexual issue, The Romans would have had it. The Greeks would have had it. The English would have had it. Sure, well, I don't even think trans existed, but sexuality has always existed, but it's been such a minute point. But through the lack of proper education, through proper programming, through mass transmission of influential and hypnotic videos and music, we've screwed up. And we are creating generation upon generation of further and further leftist-leaning thinking people. It is what it is. I have to be careful how I say this, but today was the first day of school for my daughter, and they rolled out the red carpet. They got their own parking spots. You had to spend $1 bazillion on a parking spot. And I'm like, when did we get a participation trophy for just being a senior in high school? Let's take this phone call. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, this trans stuff, what we call it today.
Yeah.
I was doing some research on it, and yeah, it was happening in ancient Greece, Rome, and they had names for them. They worshipped
John,
Cybele.
what did there was this big of a deal, John. They would have taught us in our history books. I know that there was homosexuality. The Greeks were really big on it. The Romans were really big on it, but no one was trans, dude.
Well, no, what they were doing was what men were doing was castrating.
They were called
themselves.
eunuchs.
And yeah, but then they would dress up as women, after they castrated us. But some of them say this was a practice to worship a Greek god or Eastern god at some point. But I did some research and I was like, wow, this didn't happen just recently, this trans thing or whatever we're calling ourselves in modern times. So I think it's always been with us, but I think it's been with us for a reason, because we have a book which is known as the Bible, for us to judge how we should conduct ourselves. And unfortunately, we have all failed, and we will always continue to fail in conducting ourselves in a Christ-like manner. And the more we don't conduct ourselves in a Christ-like manner, our kids, they're watching up.
John, let me ask you this, because I'm not trying to interrupt. I got a legitimate question, and I'm going to go to Isaiah 55 and Mark 8. With the eunuch who was traveling from Jerusalem to Ethiopia, and he was reading Isaiah 55, and it was Barnabas who said, "Do you know what you're reading?" And the eunuch said, "How do I know if someone doesn't teach me?" Are you saying that the Ethiopian eunuch who was in charge of the finance for Ethiopia was trans, or was he eunuch because there was practice back then for people who were in charge of the money to become eunuchs?
And I'll be honest with you, from my perspective, if you are a Christian and you know the word, then that should guide your behavior. That it's real simple. I mean, we make this more complicated than it has to be. The word tells us how we should conduct ourselves.
I agree.
That is our guiding principle. That's our guiding principle. So the more we keep listening to men, the more lost we become. And it's just the truth. We're listening to men. We put our faith in man, and we turned our hearts away from God. But we tend to call ourselves Christians, to gather our tribe. But brother, our world can't be this twisted and messed up if we really live in a Christ-like, and we're trying to walk in a Christ-like manner. It's really simple. Yeah, I mean, it really is. But we make it hard because we turned our hearts from God, and we put our faith in men.
John,
I'll leave it there.
Yep. I appreciate the call. I was about to say we're going to disagree on this one. There have been, and I do appreciate the call. And John, real quick before you go, see, this is how mature adults, dare I say, men, talk to each other when we have disagreements. We don't sit there and shout at each other. We don't hang up on each other, and it's just the way it's got to be. And I appreciate you calling in, my friend. I really do.
I'll say this. If we love each other like Christ, we don't have all this craziness going on. Our kids aren't confused. So I'll leave it there.
Yep. Take care, John. I would still say go back to, I think it's Mark 7 or Mark 8, and where the Ethiopian eunuch is reading Isaiah 55. it's amazing how the Lord puts stuff on your heart when you're doing your morning reading and listening. But I'm telling you this, homosexuality has been there, but this crazy trans stuff, this SSRI stuff, all these drugs that they're giving to our kids, putting it in to our kids' bodies, these mRNA vaccines, you can't tell me that the world would have got this crazy if we didn't have all that stuff there. And I will continue to say this, and we're going to talk about high school senior day when we get back. But I'm going to tell you this: if we don't toughen up, Brother John is right. We're going to be in a world of hurt. We're going to be in some trouble. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Hey, can you hold on? We're in a commercial break.
Yes, I'll hold on.
Thank you. Turn down. Yep. You got Brother Willie on hold.
Our team doesn't take care of your pet. We feel like it starts with the pet parent. The pet parent is informed thoroughly and understands.
Your medicine can be purchased, food can be purchased, prescription or non-prescription, and they will be shipped straight to your front door. FloraAnimalHospitals.com.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Colombia, 7.4 magnitude earthquake rocking the Chaco region. Local officials say at least 24 people are dead. Here's ABC's Lama Hassan.
Posting on social media, the governor of Chaco region, where the epicenter of the quake is, she says that there are injuries and severe damage to some buildings, adding that they are now concerned about aftershocks. And of course, don't forget that this comes after those recent deadly twin earthquakes that hit neighboring Venezuela that has killed more than 6,100 people.
Colombia's newly elected president on X says he'll travel to help the communities impacted, including the coffee growers region. The stalemate over the Strait of Hormuz continues, with Iran demanding that the U.S. lift its naval blockade and sanctions, the U.S. continuing to warn that Iran could face new strikes. In South Carolina this hour, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth holding a ceremony to rename Joint Base Charleston to Joint Base Lindsey Graham. The late senator served in the Air Force, Reserves, and National Guard. This is
Even with interest rates higher than recent norms, real estate values are still holding strong in Mississippi. We caught up again with one of Mississippi's top real estate agents, Shane Saxon, to explain his recent activity in the market.
In the last year or so, it's been the best of my career. Interest rates have been high, but the real estate market is here to stay. Land values especially are continuing to rise. Home values are holding. If you need help with anything in real estate, just give me a call.
Find Shane Saxon on Facebook or give him a call at 601-540-5040. Offer permit 601-724-1435.
What are people saying about Tom's Fried Pies in Richland?
Tom's Fried Pies. And I made the mistake. I ordered one pie. I figured, you know what? I'll try Tex-Mex. It was so good. Man, second go around, I ate the pecan pie. You will need a meat pie and a dessert one. Get both because they are off the hook.
I went to Tom's Fried Pies today, and I'm going back. I tried the taco one, really good. When I go back, I'll bring some home.
Tom'sFriedPies.com.
Looking to elevate your ride? Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head-turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. Trucks live here.
Bring your whole family to Fun in Flora at the Calico Fair, hosted by Flora Methodist Church on Saturday, August 22nd from 4:30 until 7:30. Kids will enjoy free water slides, jump houses, games, and more. Browse the country store, bid in the live and silent auctions, enjoy live entertainment, and grab a pulled pork dinner for just $12. Food, fellowship, and fun. We'll see you at Fun and Flora at the Calico Fair.
And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Before we get to Brother Willie, who's on the phone, I just want to say thank you, Miss Nikki, for going ahead and reaching out to the city of Beloit and in Bolivar County. They took her call. She asked if they hired that woman, Ali, and guess what? They hung up on her too. Brother Willie, what's going on?
All right, how are you today?
Oh, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fine.
Well, good. Well, I wanted to say, I was listening to John, and I got to say, this is something that probably has been going on. I know that the Romans and the Greeks and all that right there was, but it wasn't to a point. I think what they were changing now, this unit, things like this, a lot of times they did that to protect the wives of royalty, because they have to be the guard, and they didn't want them fooling around with their wives. But I want to tell you this right here.
Mm-hmm.
These people, this village that was hired, when I first came here with my wife, one of her relatives told me that we're going to turn Mississippi blue.
Mm.
And I was insulted. I was really insulted. I told him, no way. No, but after seeing some of the things that's going on, I'm saying, is this what's taking place?
Yep.
Are they doing this now? And it was, one thing I can say this right here is that we need to do whatever we can as citizens, as voters, to keep this from happening, okay? I don't have anything against the Democrats, but I don't just call them Democrats. I call them liberals.
Yep.
I do have something against liberals. Not them personally, but their actions. And this is what I think has brought this trans things into existence the way it is now. So predominantly noticeable now is because the liberals have gotten in office and have changed, and some other things, ministries, if they get their minds off money and start standing up for God's word, it be pastor, and let people know, because a lot of people, they follow what they're taught in church. A lot of people do, but a lot of pastors, they'll see things that they know is wrong.
Yep.
And they won't say it because they don't want to lose that contribution that person may be offering every week. That's what I have to say, okay?
Brother Willie, I really appreciate your wisdom, man. We continue to pray for you and your wife up in Chicago.
Okay, thank you very much.
Love you, brother.
Bye-bye.
That was Brother Willie. And this is starting to really blow up. And there's a disabled 11 Bravo, which I believe that's a pilot in the Air Force who with the bomber designation, just left Osama Ali's office. And I haven't listened to this yet, so I'm just going to hit play. He's a disabled veteran, so I'm praying to Holy Ghost up there that he doesn't drop any F-bombs. But if we go dead for a second, I had to hit the dump button. Here we go.
So I just went and visited Asma Ali's law firm and to ask her about her most recent social media post. And well, you'll see here in a minute, but
you recorded it.
I think this was an office manager. It seemed like she was kind of like running things, but she said no comment. I didn't really push any harder because technically I'm on private property. But yeah, no comment is what I got. And then,
Brother Sippy, I know you're out there listening because you just retweeted my tweet. If you want to call into the show, 601-879-0002. If not, I'm going to reach out to you privately on X, and we'll see if we can't do a collab tomorrow, because this is a big deal. We've got patriots who are realizing this is a big deal. And why is it always at the veterans that are doing it? Maybe it's because we just got a little bit different bent into us. I'm not saying we're better. I'm just saying we're different. And this homie 11 Bravo just rolled right up into Miss Ali's office and said, "Hey, is she a judge now?" And she said, "No comment." Well, no comment means that we're not going to like the answer that we're going to give. And this is ridiculous. We have plenty of female judges out there. We have plenty of black judges out there that love and respect the Constitution. Some of them are a little liberal and take a different view of than what I agree the Constitution on, but we can have that argument. But there's no room for Sharia law in America. There's no room for Islamic law in America. And we as American citizens need to start taking our civic duties responsibly and seriously. This vote blue, no matter who. This vote red, no matter, better off dead than voting red. We got to get rid of all this.
And when she realized that
nonsense.
I stopped recording on my way back to my car, she stuck her head out the door and was like, "I would like for you to remove that from your phone." Well,
no, you don't have to, brother. Mississippi's a one-party state.
That's not going to be possible.
No.
So, yeah, I basically told her I'm not doing that, and then got in my car and left. So,
well, you're going to be getting a very threat. You know what? You're going to get a letter. You're going to get a very threatening letter, Mr. Sippy. We all know what happens to men who get threatening letters from attorney generals. They better do something. Oh man, I haven't played that clip in a while. That helped make me famous. But she asked him not to post the video online. Well, I hope that he does. Is that Sippy Cup? Yep, that's Mr. Sippy. I have to be truthful when I say I appreciate the nicknames, but I always like it when people have their name either in their, like Clay Edwards is Save Jackson, but you look at his name, it says Clay Edwards. And I don't know Mr. Sippy's name, and maybe he is doing that, but he's at Sippy Cup 2, SIPPICUP2. Follow him. And he's working with Amy Meck and the Rare Foundation. I'm telling you what, this is going to be a big deal. And people who are taking this lightly or don't think that this is serious. And I keep, you notice how I always keep on going back to like my main core tenets of this show, which is my faith and local politics. Imagine if everyone listening to my voice right now was just a precinct delegate, and we could go to our county chairs and say, "Hey, we need to put out a press release on this. That this isn't what we want here in Mississippi." Imagine if we were all swimming in the same direction locally. Don't care what the senators do. Don't care what the congressmen do. I do care what they do, but I just realized that the probability of ever getting change there is slim to none. But you know what? In this town of 627 people in Beloit, Mississippi, if they actually knew what the heck these people were doing, I'm telling you what, there'd be change there. It's a lot easier to change the mind of 40 to 50 people. I'm not going to do it today, but when I get home, I'm going to pull up the voting records of how many people actually voted to put these aldermen in. And at this point, you have to assume that they all voted for this witch. You just have to agree that this is what happens. And this is what happens when you don't pay attention to who your local dog catcher is. It's so frustrating me because I know sometimes I get drawn into certain. We all go back to what we know. With me, it's faith, military, and local politics, and Arsenal Football Club. If I'm being a little bit selfish in what I'm doing for the day, got to get me my Arsenal updates. But ladies and gentlemen, if we don't take this stuff seriously, it won't be Beloit, Mississippi. It will be Ridgeland, Mississippi. It will be Brandon. It will be Terry. This is ridiculous. We're better than this. We're stronger than this. We're not just Americans. We're Mississippians, man. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our last commercial break of the show. We'll be right back. I got to take down the sign, ladies and gentlemen.
Customer service. Contact Landon today at 601-856-3681.
At Lakeshore Church, we believe the liberation of the soul is found only in Christ. Hello, I'm Jay Frazier, Senior Pastor at Lakeshore, inviting you to come and worship with us this week. We believe in the three-cross concept of ministry, the cross of salvation, the cross of separation, and the cross of service, and we believe all of these crosses should be evident in our lives. We're at 6880 South Sidewell Road in Byram. For more information about the ministries, activities, and times of service, go to lakeshorecmc.org.
And be sure to listen to Lakeshore Church's weekly program, heard Sunday mornings at 8 on 103.9 WYAB.
Are you thinking about your next vehicle purchase? Hi, I'm Casey Ellis, owner of Ellis Autoplex in Brandon. If you've been searching for a clean diesel or half-ton truck, your search is over. At Ellis Autoplex, we specialize in the vehicles people actually want. Whether you're upgrading, buying your first truck, or looking for something the big dealerships don't have, Ellis Autoplex is worth the drive. Stop by and see why more and more people across the Southeast are choosing Little Truck City. Follow us on Facebook or shop online at ellisautoplex.com.
Football is back in start phase. Join the Bulldogs as Mississippi State opens the season at home against the ULM Warhawks. Be there for the first kickoff, the first touchdown, and the return of game day at Davis Wade Stadium. Gather your family, bring your cowbell, and help create the home field advantage that only Bulldog fans can deliver. Tickets for Mississippi State versus ULM start at less than $18 and can be purchased at hailstate.com/tickets.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, and I want to tell you, I've lived in Flora for over 50 years.
I just want to say thanks to everybody who tuned in and listened to the stream. Oh, that would be a great idea. I don't even know where Benoit is. I have to get smart on my Mississippi geography. But yeah, if it's in Benny's district, we should call Benny. Let him know. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Benoit, Mississippi just happens to be in the great 2nd Congressional District of Mississippi. Our guy, Benny Thompson, is the congressional congressman there, so maybe we ought to give Uncle Benny a call. Say, Uncle, hook a brother up. We got to get rid of this Sharia law stuff. We might not agree on much, but you got to agree on this. We got to agree on this. Something we got to agree on. People checking in, talking about how we should be involved locally. Yep. I might have to give a call or two about this. This is bigger than anything I've been covering in a while. And I do find it funny. You can go follow Sippy Cup at Sippy Cup 2 on X and watch his full 2-minute and 45-second video. I just didn't want to go ahead and play the whole thing. It's not that it was any bad words or anything. It's just I think he's worth the follow. And it's people sometimes need to be that one person who goes in and talks about what's going on. And again, if you do decide to call Miss Ali, go visit her office, go do that. Don't be violent. Don't be hateful. Don't be like the crazy leftist, Marxist, communists like Minneapolis and Seattle and Chicago have. We're better than that. We're Mississippi. Be professional. Be polite. Be courteous. You can make your point without dropping an F-bomb. We're better than that. And I don't know what the heck you're waiting for to get motivated to be involved locally. But if this isn't it, I don't know what would be. I didn't even get to talk about my daughter's senior day. I had like this whole spiel I wanted to go into this. It was going to be great. And I'll have to save that for tomorrow or another day. We'll see what happens. I know the Lindsey Beckham show is coming up next here on 103.9 WYAB. Brother Kim Wade's coming on from 4 to 6. I'm sure Brother Kim will have something to say about this. And I do want to say thank you real quick, because a lot of people like taking the easy, cheap hit on Clay Edwards. But Clay Edwards broke this as far as I'm concerned. He broke it before Brother Sippy Cup went online. And Clay Edwards does more for Mississippi than a lot of these 2-bit, quote unquote, Republican elected officials do. We should all be sitting there, and I am very grateful and thankful for Clay Edwards. I might articulate it a little bit differently than he does, and he'd tell you the same thing about me. But man, he is a true Mississippi treasure. And these people who are sitting there trying to get him taken down and all this stuff, what you guys are all a bunch of cowards, wimps, pathetic. And I don't use those words too often or try to be an agitator, but I'm telling you what, the things that they're trying to do to take Clay off the air, not in my house. I'll defend Clay to the hilt. And I'm just grateful and thankful to Clay that he trusted me enough with his source to allow me to go live with it. I mean, I literally went to my first commercial break and he came in and said, "Hey, look at this." That's what you got here at 103.9 WYAB. Not the milquetoast conservative talk that you get other places. We'll bring it large. We'll bring it local when we can, and international when we have to as well. And that's just the way it's going to be. I didn't even get to talk about our first episode of Equipping the Saints yesterday with the Sweepy. People are asking for a copy of it. I might upload it. Have to start a YouTube channel. Equipping the Saints. Lindsey Beckham's coming up next. Until tomorrow, everybody, take care. Be blessed. Yes and amen. And I love my life.